7 times you should stay silent and let karma handle it. Stoic philosophy. Stoicism. Have you ever felt like the more you try to explain yourself, the more people misunderstand or twist your words? Or that defending your point, fighting for justice, or seeking respect often leaves you feeling exhausted, while those who wrong you seem to walk away unscathed? What if I told you that sometimes the best thing you can do is stop reacting, stop chasing validation, and just remain silent? This is where the power of modern Stoicism comes in, and where you can discover the Stoic secrets to protecting your peace. In those moments, karma steps in and begins to work its magic on its own. Think of it like this: the more you struggle, the deeper you dig yourself into unnecessary conflict. But when you choose silence, you give yourself the space to step back and let the universe handle the rest. It's like watching an echo in the mountains. You send out what you feel, and it eventually returns. In the same way, all the negativity they send your way will eventually circle back to them. When you stay silent, you allow karma to write the final chapter, without your words or actions adding fuel to the fire. So, when should you remain silent and let karma take over? Stay with me here on Stoic in Your Life, because the last point will shift your entire perspective. Let's dive in. 7 times you should stay silent. Number 1. When you're being provoked. Imagine being in a situation where someone insults you, challenges your beliefs, or behaves aggressively toward you. It's a deeply uncomfortable feeling, and I know how tempting it is to want to defend yourself. You might feel a rush of anger, pride, or frustration, and believe that you have to retaliate or say something sharp to protect yourself. But here's something important to remember. The true power lies not in reacting, but in staying silent. I know this can be incredibly difficult. Our natural instinct is to fight back, to prove ourselves right, or to protect our honor. But what if I told you that reacting, no matter how justified it may seem in the moment, often makes the situation worse? In fact, it can fuel the conflict even further. Stoicism teaches us an invaluable lesson. Our control is limited to our actions and reactions, not to what others do. This means that when we face provocation, we have a choice. We can either react and get pulled into the emotional turmoil, or we can choose silence as a powerful response. By choosing silence, you're not backing down or showing weakness. On the contrary, you're standing firm in your ability to remain unshaken by external chaos. Silence is not about avoiding conflict or running from it. It's about maintaining your peace in the face of it. When you refuse to engage in the drama or respond to the provocations, you send a clear message. You are not controlled by the actions of others. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When you don't react to an insult or aggression, you maintain your dignity and composure, leaving the provocateur with their own unresolved emotions. In that moment, you've taken the high road, and that alone speaks volumes. Over time, this practice of silence becomes a demonstration of true strength and wisdom. Have you ever noticed how many times someone's quick reaction, whether it's a harsh word or an impulsive action, only worsens the situation and leaves them regretting their choice? Maybe you've been there yourself. But by choosing silence, you demonstrate that you are in control of your inner world. You're not letting others disturb your peace. Instead, you're protecting your emotional and mental well-being, showing that you are not at the mercy of others' behavior. So, I ask you to reflect. What if, in the face of provocation, you chose to stay silent? What if, instead of responding, in the heat of the moment, you paused, took a breath, and allowed the situation to pass without adding fuel to the fire? Over time, you'd find that this practice not only helps you maintain control over your emotions, but also earns you respect, People around you will begin to recognize the strength it takes to remain composed when the world seems to demand a reaction. This practice, deeply rooted in Stoicism, holds great power, especially in our modern world where every small conflict seems to escalate. Silence in this sense is not passive. It's an active choice to rise above the chaos, creating a life grounded in peace and resilience. By choosing silence, you protect yourself from the turbulence of the outside world and cultivate a life of emotional stability. Number 2. When others are talking nonsense. In life, we all encounter moments when others speak nonsense or spread misinformation, and in such instances, choosing silence can often be the most powerful and wise response. I've come to realize that engaging in debates with people who are closed off to reason or intent solely on arguing, rather than seeking truth, rarely leads anywhere of value. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, to feel the urge to correct or convince the other person of their wrongs. But silence in these situations is not about agreeing with their beliefs or giving them a free pass. Rather, it's a conscious, deliberate choice to restrain myself from getting involved in a futile exchange. It is a quiet acknowledgement that some conversations are simply not worth having, because they are not meant to lead to understanding or growth. My time, energy, and emotional well-being are far too precious to waste on fruitless verbal sparring. Instead of diving into a cycle of unproductive back and forth, I have learned to choose silence as a tool to preserve my mental clarity and emotional balance. By remaining silent, I send a message not just to the other person, but to myself and the world around me. I will not be dragged into battles that do not serve me. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This profound insight reminds me that sometimes the most powerful thing I can do is listen, really listen, and give space for more meaningful, thoughtful dialogue to emerge. Silence is not the absence of action. Rather, it is a subtle but powerful action in itself. It allows the mind to remain calm, the emotions to stay grounded, and the situation to unfold without adding more fuel to the fire. When we speak less, we also create room for others who are open to constructive conversation and mutual understanding. Holding back my words in such moments is also an invitation to my own mind to cultivate deeper peace and resilience. I've noticed that when I choose silence in the face of ignorance or falsehoods, I not only preserve my own sanity, but also set an example of calm and wisdom for those who are open to learning. It's not about avoiding confrontation because I am afraid or insecure, but about recognizing the futility of certain arguments. Some debates are not worth entering because they are not aimed at mutual growth. They're driven by ego, not enlightenment. Indurain, a world that is often drowned in noise and chaos. The Stoic secret lies in knowing when to step back and let the energy of a situation pass, instead of contributing to the disturbance. By allowing silence to take its place, I preserve my peace and maintain control over my emotions. At the end of the day, my silence often speaks louder than any words ever could. It's a sign of strength, emotional maturity, and an unwavering commitment to my own peace of mind. And in that silence there is wisdom, a power that is greater than any verbal exchange. Let me ask you this. If you're ready to take control of your life, to empower yourself through wisdom and self-mastery, now is the time to act. Like this video and comment below, silence speaks louder, because real strength doesn't come from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. How have you used silence to navigate moments of nonsense or misinformation? Share your thoughts, and let's start a conversation about how choosing silence can lead to greater peace and clarity. The journey to true emotional control begins here. Let's dive in. Number 3. When you're overwhelmed by emotion. In moments of emotional turmoil, whether anger, sadness, or frustration, Silence can be one of the most powerful tools for regaining clarity and control. When caught in intense emotions, our mind becomes clouded, making it harder to think clearly. This emotional surge often pushes us to react impulsively, without considering the impact of our words or actions. We say things we regret, and the emotional pain that follows can linger far longer than the initial outburst. It's easy to forget that emotions, like storms, are temporary. They pass, and so does their intense grip on us. However, the consequences of rash reactions can last a lifetime. Modern Stoicism teaches that while we can't always control our emotions, we can control how we respond to them. As Epictetus said, "We are not disturbed by things but by the views we take of them." It's not the emotions themselves that control us, but how we interpret and react to them. If we allow ourselves to be ruled by our feelings, we risk causing harm. But if we pause and reflect, we regain control over our actions and our peace of mind. Choosing silence in moments of overwhelming emotion provides a brief yet profound opportunity to regain composure. This pause doesn't suppress our feelings. It simply allows us to experience them fully, letting them pass without letting them dictate our behavior. By stepping back, we give ourselves the space to reflect, gain perspective, and recognize that our emotional state is temporary. In that moment of silence, we can decide how to proceed in line with our core values, rather than being driven by impulse. Silence is not about shutting off our feelings. It's about taking control of how we express them. By taking a moment to reflect, we can avoid rash decisions and respond thoughtfully. This is particularly important in today's fast-paced world, where emotions often flare up in heated discussions, social media exchanges, or daily disagreements. In these moments, the ability to pause and be silent is more crucial than ever. It allows us to make more rational decisions, protects our relationships, and helps build emotional resilience. When emotions cloud your judgment, remember that you have a choice. By choosing silence, you give yourself the space to regain your balance and respond in a way that reflects your true values. Trust that karma will handle the rest and that time will allow things to unfold as they should. Silence grants you control, helps you stay true to yourself, and navigate life's emotional storms with grace. Number 4. When you're being criticized unfairly. We've all experienced criticism that felt unfair or undeserved, and our instinct is often to fight back and defend ourselves. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a valuable lesson. Our self-worth is not determined by others' opinions. In moments of unjust criticism, silence can become an act of self-respect. By staying quiet, we show that we're not defined by what others think of us. Silence is not about ignoring the truth or letting people walk over us. It's about realizing that their words don't control our value. In fact, silence in the face of criticism isn't weakness, it's strength. By not reacting, we demonstrate that we're not easily influenced by external judgments. Over time, this silence can cause others to reflect on their own actions as they begin to realize that our calmness speaks louder than words ever could. In these moments, silence protects our dignity while leaving critics to deal with their own behavior. Have you ever experienced a situation where you chose to stay silent instead of defending yourself? How did it feel afterward? Did it not leave you feeling stronger while others struggled to justify their words? The Stoic secret is that in these quiet moments we find wisdom, clarity, and peace, something that can't be taken from us. By letting go of the need to argue, we protect our peace and give others the chance to reconsider their actions. Silence, in this context, isn't passive. It's an active choice to uphold a higher standard for ourselves, unaffected by temporary judgments. It teaches others the value of knowing when to speak and when to remain still. Though it's hard to practice, this kind of resilience is a path toward deeper self-mastery. Instead of reacting in anger, we choose not to sink to the level of those who provoke us. Think about how often you felt the urge to retaliate only to regret it later. The Stoic way reminds us that our most powerful weapon is not our words, but our ability to remain grounded, composed, and silent when the world tries to push us off balance. Silence doesn't just protect our dignity, it transforms how we're perceived. Eventually, those who once criticized us may respect us for our poise and wisdom, recognizing our ability to rise above petty conflicts. In this way, silence becomes eloquent and speaks volumes without us ever needing to say a word. Next time you face unfair criticism, ask yourself, is my response truly necessary? Will engaging with the criticism serve me, or is silence the better choice? The Stoic secret here is simple yet profound. By remaining silent, you don't lose, you win. You regain control over your reactions, allowing time and wisdom to do their work. By embracing this approach, you tap into a strength that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Choosing silence can be difficult, but it's also an opportunity for growth. Imagine the freedom you would experience if you could walk through life untouched by every harsh word or judgment. Silence gives you freedom from the need for validation, from unnecessary conflict, and from the turmoil of reacting to everything that comes your way. This is the beauty of Stoicism. It empowers you to live life on your terms, unaffected by others' opinions. By embracing silence when it matters most, you unlock an inner peace and strength that can't be shaken. The Stoic secret isn't just about holding your tongue, it's about holding your ground with confidence, calm, and unshakable resolve. Number 5. When you need to reflect and process. There are moments in life when everything feels chaotic, when challenges and difficult decisions seem to come at you from all sides. In those moments, it's easy to feel rushed, pressured to act, to speak, or to make a decision right away. We've all been there, caught up in the whirlwind of emotions, trying to figure out what to do next. But here's something to consider. Sometimes the best decision you can make is to stay silent, to step back and take a moment to reflect. This isn't about avoiding the situation. It's about giving yourself the clarity you need before you take action. Silence in these moments becomes your greatest ally. It's the space between the storm and your response. As modern Stoicism teaches us, we don't always need to react immediately. In fact, true wisdom often emerges from these moments of stillness, where we allow ourselves the time to reflect and process. Think about it. When was the last time you acted impulsively, driven by fear, anxiety, or the pressure of the moment? How did that work out for you? More often than not, quick decisions made without reflection can lead to regret. The Stoics knew this well, and they taught that silence in such moments is an act of self-control, of discipline. It's not about ignoring your feelings or your needs, but rather creating the mental space to assess them clearly. By choosing silence, you avoid the knee-jerk reactions that come from being swept up in the moment. You give yourself the time to evaluate what really matters and to consider the long-term consequences of your actions. When you take a step back, you open the door to a more thoughtful response, one that is aligned with your values and long-term goals. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In this sense, wasting time doesn't only mean letting days slip away. It also means rushing decisions, not taking the time to reflect, to really think before we act. How often do we find ourselves making decisions based on immediate emotions or external pressures, only to later realize we didn't give ourselves the time to think clearly? What if we allowed ourselves the space to pause and truly reflect before responding? What might that shift in mindset do for our lives, our relationships, and our peace of mind? In today's fast-paced world, we often feel as if we must act immediately, but the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers a different approach. Silence, especially when faced with a challenge or decision, is not weakness. It's strength. It's the courage to face uncertainty with patience and understanding. knowing that rushing into a decision rarely leads to the best outcome. So next time you're faced with a challenge, take a breath, step back, and allow yourself the time to reflect. Give yourself the mental space to weigh your options, align your response with your values, and avoid the impulsive reactions that might be driven by stress or fear. This is modern Stoicism in action, cultivating the wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain silent, to act thoughtfully rather than reactively. The more you practice this, the more you'll see how much more empowered you feel, not by your ability to act quickly, but by your ability to act wisely, with calm and clarity. How will you choose to respond the next time life throws a challenge your way? Will you give yourself the time to reflect, or will you rush in without thinking? The choice is yours, and it is a powerful one. Number 6. When you're facing a power struggle. Power struggles are an inevitable part of life, whether in personal relationships, at work, or even in public spaces. We all find ourselves in these moments, where tension rises and the desire to assert control becomes overwhelming. It's tempting to dive into these battles to fight for dominance or to make sure our voice is heard. However, through the lens of Stoicism, I've learned that engaging in such struggles only fuels the fire, leading to unnecessary conflict and emotional turmoil. The Stoic secret here is to recognize that true power does not lie in exerting control over others, but in maintaining control over ourselves. By choosing silence, you effectively remove the other person's ability to draw you into a clash of wills. Silence in these cases is not passive, it's an active and intentional strategy. It's an acknowledgement that no matter how strong the external pressure may seem, you don't have to react. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius taught, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, by staying silent, you don't allow the other person to drag you into their own turmoil or games of power. This silence gives you a quiet strength, a grounded emotional state that doesn't depend on the chaotic forces around you. Instead of allowing your emotions to be manipulated or your peace to be disturbed, you keep your center intact. In the long run, the person who is trying to provoke you may find themselves exhausted and frustrated by their own efforts. Meanwhile, you remain calm and composed, holding on to a sense of inner peace and emotional clarity. Silence in a power struggle is not about avoidance. It's about choosing a higher path. It's about demonstrating your strength through restraint and, in doing so, showing that you are above petty conflicts. This is the essence of the Stoic approach, maintaining tranquility in the face of external chaos. By adopting this strategy, you not only preserve your own peace, but also signal to others that their attempts to engage you in a struggle for control are futile. You remain unmoved by their efforts, and in doing so you keep your emotional landscape untouched. The wisdom of Stoic philosophy teaches us that true control lies not in dominating others, but in mastering ourselves. Silence, then, becomes not only a shield against the tension of power struggles, but also a tool for building personal strength and emotional resilience. Next time you find yourself in a struggle for power, remember that silence is not weakness. It's a powerful act of self-mastery and peace. In these moments, you'll discover that letting go and allowing karma to take its course is the most effective and rewarding strategy. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who values wisdom and personal growth. So, I encourage you to leave a comment below saying silence is my strength, or share your own thoughts on how you've handled power struggles in your life. How have you used silence to maintain control in difficult situations? Remember, this is just the beginning of your journey toward understanding true self-mastery and living with purpose. Stay with us. Your path to deeper wisdom and emotional resilience is unfolding right now. Number 7. When karma is at work. One of the most powerful and liberating aspects of silence is its ability to let karma take its natural course. Life has a way of teaching us lessons, and sometimes the harshest ones are delivered by others, through their unjust actions. When someone wrongs you, the instinct to retaliate can be overwhelming. The desire to defend yourself, to right the wrongs inflicted upon you, can cloud your judgment and make you feel like you must take matters into your own hands. After all, shouldn't those who hurt us face the consequences of their actions? It can be tempting to confront them, call them out, or even seek revenge. However, the Stoic mindset offers a much different approach, urging us to trust in the universe's inherent order and allow karma to unfold on its own. In those moments, silence becomes an incredibly potent tool, not just a passive choice but an active act of restraint. By choosing silence, we refuse to get entangled in cycles of revenge and negativity, preserving our peace of mind and emotional energy. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In other words, our greatest power is not in retaliation, but in refusing to mirror the negative actions of others. When we remain silent in the face of injustice, we avoid feeding into the very cycle of harm that caused us distress in the first place. By stepping back, we give karma the space to do its work, knowing that those who wrong us will ultimately face the consequences of their actions, whether directly or indirectly. The beauty of this approach is that we don't have to lift a finger or force a result. We simply allow the universe to take its course, trusting that it has its own way of balancing things out. This form of silence isn't about passivity, but about faith. Faith in the natural process of karma. When we choose silence, we're expressing trust in the universe's ability to right the wrongs, often in ways that we might not even expect or understand. The person who wronged us may never fully comprehend the depth of their actions, but they will eventually learn the consequences, whether through their own experiences or the reactions of others. Meanwhile, we stay true to our values, maintaining our integrity and avoiding sinking to the same level of negativity and harm. By refraining from retaliation, we not only preserve our dignity, but also protect our emotional energy and peace of mind. In the rush and noise of modern life, where the urge to respond quickly is often overwhelming, choosing silence becomes a courageous act. It's a reminder that we don't need to engage in every battle, especially when we know that doing so will only prolong suffering. Sometimes, the greatest strength is the ability to step back and let the natural order of things unfold. We don't need to fight every fight. We don't need to prove every point. Silence in these moments becomes a shield that protects us from getting drawn into cycles of bitterness, while also allowing the person who wronged us to face the inevitable consequences of their actions. Practicing this form of restraint, we invite karma to teach the lessons that need to be learned without getting caught up in the drama or negativity. We remain grounded in our principles, committed to staying true to our inner peace. When you find yourself facing injustice, whether at work, in relationships, or within your community, remember that you don't always have to act immediately. Trust the process. Trust in karma's ability to set things right and allow silence to be your most powerful response. In doing so, you preserve your peace, protect your integrity, and give yourself the freedom to move forward with a sense of calm and assurance. As you've seen, there are moments in life where silence is not just a choice, but a hidden power. When faced with agitation, offense, or emotionally charged situations, silence helps you maintain composure and allows karma to handle things in its own way. All these moments remind us that responding is not always necessary. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful statement. 8 powerful reasons silence is your greatest strength. Silence is not just a passive reaction. It is a powerful tool for protecting yourself, maintaining inner peace, and boosting self-control. But did you know that silence brings even deeper benefits? Let's explore 8 compelling reasons why silence is your greatest strength in life. Number 1. Silence protects your energy. In life, you're bound to face situations and people that demand your time, energy, and focus. It could be the toxic coworker who constantly stirs up drama, or a friend who brings nothing but negativity into your world. At times like these, it's tempting to react, to engage, to defend yourself and try to set things straight. You might feel the pressure to speak up and prove your point. However, here's a Stoic secret you might not have considered. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence isn't about saying nothing, it's about self-preservation. Choosing to remain silent in the face of chaos or negativity is an act of self-care. It's a way to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Think about it for a moment. When you engage in every conflict or respond to every bit of drama, it drains you. It saps your energy, affects your focus, and robs you of your peace. Reacting to these disruptions only depletes you further. But when you choose silence, you're actually conserving your energy for the things that truly matter. It's like keeping your phone charged. When you save your energy for what's important, you can approach life's challenges with clarity and strength. Imagine a situation at work. A colleague throws accusations your way, blaming you for something you didn't do. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to argue back, to show that you're not at fault. But in that moment, you make the decision to stay quiet. You don't let their drama steal your peace. By choosing silence, you're protecting your energy, saving it for situations where it's truly worth engaging. You're not letting external forces drain you with things that don't serve you. Instead, you are preserving your inner peace for the bigger, more meaningful challenges that life will inevitably bring your way. This idea of silence, as the Stoics teach, isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about preserving your strength, so that when you do need to engage, you can do so with grace, resilience, and wisdom. Have you ever found yourself caught up in a situation where you tried to defend yourself or engage with negativity, only to feel completely drained afterward? How did that make you feel? Were you left feeling weaker or more empowered? There's a strength in silence that many overlook. By embracing it, you begin to realize that not every battle is worth fighting. The Stoic secret here is simple. Silence is not avoidance. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize your energy and well-being. When you learn to protect your energy, you create space for greater clarity, productivity, and peace. You show up as your best self, centered, focused, and ready to tackle the real challenges in your life. Next time you find yourself tempted to react to drama or negativity, remember that silence is your shield. It guards your peace and protects your vitality, allowing you to move through life on your terms. The more you embrace this, the stronger and more resilient you become. Silence gives you the ability to choose your battles wisely, conserve your resources, and focus on what truly matters. In doing so, you will unlock a level of strength and presence that helps you navigate life with a calm, confident mind. Number 2. Silence provides clarity. Life can feel like a constant whirlwind, endless noise, distractions, pressures, and demands. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle, overwhelmed by everything going on around you. In these moments, clarity seems elusive, doesn't it? Have you ever felt like you're making decisions but they don't feel right, or you're unsure of your next steps? I know how that feels. It's like you're spinning in circles trying to navigate through life's chaos, but never quite seeing the full picture. And that's exactly why silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use to regain control. When you allow yourself to step away from the noise, to simply pause and be still, you create space for clarity. Silence provides you with a moment to breathe, to collect your thoughts, and to process your emotions without the influence of outside distractions. It's like stepping out of a storm into the calm. Suddenly, the clouds part and you can see things more clearly. In those moments of quiet, you can sort through your options, understand your feelings, and find the deeper truths that often get lost in the chaos of everyday life. Silence isn't just about blocking out external noise. It's about creating the space to hear your own thoughts, and more importantly, to listen to your inner voice. How often do we find ourselves drowning in the noise around us, whether it's the opinions of others or the constant bombardment of social media? How often do we ignore that quiet voice inside us that knows what we truly want or need? This voice, your intuition, your inner wisdom, can only be heard when you allow silence to create the space for it. Think about the last time you made a decision in haste. Was it the right one? Probably not. Silence gives you the time to reflect and ensure that your actions align with your true values, not just your immediate impulses or outside pressures. In the words of Epictetus, wealth consists not in having great possessions but in having few wants. The same can be said about clarity. Clarity comes from quieting the noise, not from filling your life with more distractions. When you allow yourself time for introspection, you can separate what is truly important from what is just a temporary distraction. Silence helps you realize what truly matters to you, what aligns with your deeper values and goals. This is a cornerstone of modern Stoicism, learning to listen to your inner truth rather than being swept away by the tides of external influence. It's easy to get lost in the noise, to believe that reacting quickly or responding immediately is the best way to handle everything. But what if the best response is simply to pause, to allow yourself the gift of silence, and to give your mind the time to clear up the confusion? Imagine the power in that. When you give yourself the space to reflect, you allow clarity to rise from within, guiding you toward better, more intentional decisions. So, I ask you, how often do you find yourself reacting without truly thinking? What if you made a habit of pausing, creating moments of silence to help guide your decisions? By practicing this, you can begin to experience the profound clarity that comes from stillness. As you cultivate this habit, you'll notice that your choices become more aligned with your deeper values, and you'll begin to see life not through the lens of chaos, but with the clear vision of someone who has taken the time to understand themselves and their path. Silence, in this sense, is not an absence. It is a powerful presence that helps you connect with your true self, helping you make decisions that resonate with your core beliefs. In a world that's always moving at full speed, creating moments of stillness can become one of your greatest sources of strength. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, mastering the ability to step back, reflect, and act with clarity and purpose. Number 3, silence shows confidence. Silence is often misunderstood in today's world, where we are encouraged to speak up, defend our opinions, and assert our positions at every opportunity. In such an environment, choosing to remain silent can easily be seen as a sign of weakness or indifference. People often mistake silence for passivity, but in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful demonstrations of confidence. By choosing to remain silent, you aren't yielding to others or avoiding confrontation. Instead, you are showing that you are not easily swayed by the noise of external opinions or the pressures of the world around you. True confidence is not about always being the loudest voice in the room or constantly asserting yourself. Instead, it's about the ability to stay calm and composed, especially in moments of provocation or uncertainty. Confidence is knowing when to speak and when to listen, and sometimes the wisest course of action is to say nothing at all. This is where the Stoic secrets come into play. Just as material wealth is not measured by what we have but by what we need, confidence is not measured by how much we speak, but by how little we need to prove. Silence in the face of challenges or opposition can actually convey more strength and clarity than 1,000 words ever could. When you remain silent, it shows that you are unshaken by the chaos around you, that you are unaffected by the judgments or provocations of others. It demonstrates that you are grounded in your own beliefs and secure in who you are. I have come to realize that silence in the face of criticism or adversity is a quiet, yet powerful form of self-assurance. It is not about defending yourself because you do not need to. Your presence speaks volumes. When you don't feel the need to prove yourself to others, you project an air of self-respect that commands respect in return. In these moments, silence is not the absence of words but the presence of clarity, strength, and confidence. It's about knowing that you do not need to fill every silence with words or explanations. Your self-worth is not tied to constant validation from others. You don't need to shout to be heard. By remaining composed and calm, you show emotional maturity and self-mastery. In modern life, silence often arises when people try to provoke you, or when you find yourself surrounded by noise and conflict that demands your participation. You might notice how some people constantly argue, trying to assert their dominance or make sure their voice is the loudest in the room. But you, by embracing silence, communicate a quiet resilience that many fail to recognize. Silence in this context is not about avoiding conflict or withdrawing from the world. It's about knowing that your value is not defined by how loudly you speak or how often you defend yourself. It's about trusting that your presence alone is enough. Your confidence lies in your ability to remain composed and unaffected, to simply be present without the need to dominate or engage in every debate. This quiet strength becomes a mark of emotional maturity and wisdom, a reflection of the Stoic secret that true strength lies not in confrontation, but in self-control and in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. By embracing silence in these moments, you show that you understand the value of self-mastery, allowing your inner peace to remain untouched by external turmoil. If you've ever found yourself choosing silence in moments of challenge or confrontation, understanding its true power, I encourage you to share your thoughts below by commenting, "I stand firm." Your insights and experiences are valuable, and by sharing them, we help build a community focused on strength, clarity, and emotional resilience. It's in these moments of quiet that we truly learn the power of confidence and self-control. Your voice adds to the wisdom that guides us toward a life of composure and self-mastery. Number 4. Silence earns respect. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, where noise and distractions constantly surround us, the power of silence often goes unnoticed. However, silence isn't just the absence of sound, it is the presence of deep inner strength, restraint, and self-control. In fact, silence can speak volumes, especially during moments of conflict or tension. By choosing to stay silent in challenging situations, you're not simply avoiding drama, you're demonstrating respect for both yourself and those around you. Think of silence as an opportunity to display emotional intelligence and composure, even in the most trying circumstances. It's a way of showing that you are in control, that you value peace over the chaos of confrontation. The Stoics, revered for their teachings on wisdom and self-mastery, considered silence a vital tool for preserving inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This quote encapsulates the essence of modern Stoicism, where silence is not just about holding your tongue, but about choosing the right moment to act with dignity, poise, and consideration. Silence in this context becomes an act of self-discipline, where you show restraint not as a passive retreat, but as an active choice to prioritize your well-being and peace of mind. In today's highly connected world, where people are constantly drawn into debates, arguments, and emotional exchanges, the decision to stay silent can feel revolutionary. We live in a culture where reactions are instantaneous and everyone feels compelled to share their opinions. However, silence allows you to step away from this whirlwind. It's not about avoiding conflict, but about rising above it. By refraining from speaking hastily or engaging in every verbal altercation, you assert your ability to maintain calm amidst the storm. Over time, this decision to hold back speaks louder than words. People begin to notice your consistency and recognize that you are not easily provoked. Instead of seeing you as someone who gets involved in every conflict, They start to view you as someone who thoughtfully chooses which battles are worth fighting. This is the true power of silence. Your ability to remain composed and grounded no matter what's happening around you. Silence, therefore, is a sign of maturity. It signals that your values and integrity are far more important than succumbing to fleeting emotions. It shows that your sense of self-worth isn't dependent on the approval or reaction of others. You have mastered the art of self-control and have cultivated the discipline to let go of minor irritations or distractions. As you practice this more and more, you begin to build an aura of respect. Those around you start to admire your ability to remain calm and unshaken. They recognize your strength even if they can't always articulate exactly why they respect you. Your silence becomes a reflection of your inner wisdom, a wisdom that tells you that not every comment or action requires a response. In a world that often values immediate reaction and constant interaction, choosing silence over impulsive responses is a powerful form of self-respect. It's a reminder that true strength doesn't come from engaging in every battle, but from knowing when to step back, reflect, and act with purpose. So, as you move through life, embrace silence as a tool for peace and a way to protect your integrity. When you choose to stay silent, you're not withdrawing from the world. You're quietly asserting your wisdom and strength. Your ability to maintain composure, to rise above the noise, is what ultimately commands respect and admiration from those around you. Through this practice of silence, you not only protect your peace but also live in alignment with your values, letting them guide your actions and interactions with others. Number 5. Silence strengthens your control. We've all been there, pushed to the edge by a comment, a look, or an unfair situation that sparks a rush of emotion. Your first instinct might be to react, lash out, defend yourself, or let your feelings take over. But here's the Stoic secret I want to share with you. Silence can be your greatest act of self-control. In those moments when everything inside you wants to speak up, argue, or retaliate, choosing silence becomes a powerful way to assert your control over your emotions and actions. Think about it. Staying silent isn't just about holding your tongue. It's a deliberate choice to regulate your response, a choice to pause before letting your impulses take the wheel. In a world that pushes us to react quickly, to defend ourselves in an instant, silence becomes an opportunity to reclaim your power. I remember a time when I was caught in a heated conversation at work. A colleague had made a sharp, dismissive comment about my project. The words stung, and I felt that familiar wave of frustration rise. But instead of jumping into the fray, I took a deep breath and chose silence. My initial impulse was to correct them, to stand my ground, to prove I was right. But instead, I said nothing. That silence, in that moment, was my power. I was showing that I didn't need to react to every slight or injustice. In that moment of stillness, I not only avoided escalating the situation, but I also allowed myself time to reflect and respond thoughtfully when the time was right. What I learned from that moment was that silence isn't weakness, it's strength. By not giving in to my emotions, I preserved my dignity, and in turn my ability to act with clarity and composure. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to prevent impulsive actions that might lead to regret. How often have you said something, in the heat of the moment, only to wish you could take it back later? Silence gives you the space to think before you speak or act, helping you avoid those moments of regret. It's an essential component of Stoic philosophy. By practicing silence, you're exercising a form of self-discipline that builds your ability to control your emotions. The more you practice this control, the more you master your inner world. Your reactions become more measured, your decisions more thoughtful, and your peace more unshakable. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt that rush of anger or frustration, but chose to stay silent? How did that feel afterward? Did you feel empowered, like you had avoided a storm of unnecessary conflict? The Stoic secret here is simple. Silence strengthens your control. It helps you build the mental discipline to handle life's challenges without reacting in ways you might later regret. It's through silence that you show you are in command of your own behavior and not ruled by external events. And this control, this mastery over yourself, leads to deeper inner peace and stability. When you embrace silence, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're strengthening your self-control, building a foundation of wisdom and resilience. So the next time you're provoked, remember that silence is your tool of power. It's a chance to pause, reflect, and respond with clarity, demonstrating the kind of self-mastery that Stoicism teaches us. Silence doesn't just stop impulsive actions. It creates space for you to grow stronger, more composed, and more in control of your own life. Number 6. Silence allows others to reflect. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a moment of conflict or criticism is nothing at all. Think about it. Imagine you're in a situation where someone is upset with you or criticizing you harshly. How do you typically respond? Is your first instinct to react, to defend yourself, or to lash back with your own words? Now, what if instead of reacting right away, you decided to stay silent? What if you chose not to speak? Not because you're weak, but because you understand the power of silence in allowing the other person to reflect on their own behavior. This simple act can be one of the most underrated tools in our emotional toolkit, and it's something I deeply believe in, because it can lead to incredible moments of personal growth, not just for you, but also for the other person involved. When you choose to remain silent in the face of criticism, you're not just avoiding a reaction. You're creating space for the other person to think about their words, their actions, and even their deeper motivations. It's a form of passive wisdom, where instead of engaging in an emotional battle, you step back and allow the other person to come to their own conclusions. Have you ever been in a conversation where you wanted to speak up, but instead, you decided to hold back? Did you notice how that silence gave the other person the chance to pause and reconsider what they were saying or doing? By not reacting, you unintentionally gave them the space they needed to reflect, perhaps in ways they didn't expect. This concept is a big part of modern Stoicism. It's not just about holding your tongue or pretending not to care. It's about understanding that sometimes the best way to teach someone a lesson or to resolve a conflict is not by pushing your own agenda, but by allowing the other person the freedom to reflect on their own behavior. In the wisdom of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, we find a powerful reminder. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. What if you applied that idea in moments of tension? Instead of rushing to speak, you could listen, both to the other person's words and to your own inner voice. By staying silent, you're creating an opportunity for reflection, both for you and the other person. This silence allows emotions to settle and creates a fertile ground for understanding, compassion, and personal growth. Can you think of a time when remaining silent gave you the chance to gain clarity, to look inward, and see things from a different perspective? What if, in those moments, you allowed others to have that same opportunity? Silence, in this sense, is not passive. It's an active choice to step out of the cycle of defensiveness and conflict. You're essentially inviting the other person to do the hard work of self-reflection. And while it may not always result in an immediate change over time, this act can lead to real personal growth and possibly to reconciliation. You're planting the seeds of understanding without needing to say a word. I know that this can be tough at first. Our instinct is often to defend ourselves, to prove our point, to speak up and be heard. But I've learned that sometimes the wisest response is simply no response. In choosing silence, you not only maintain your peace, but you also give others the chance to experience their own realizations. Often they won't even recognize that it was your silence that created that space for them to grow. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, the practice of emotional control, patience, and ultimately, inner strength. So the next time you find yourself in a tense situation, ask yourself, can I remain silent and in doing so allow the other person to reflect and grow? Because sometimes that is the most powerful thing you can do. Number 7. Silence protects your peace. One of the key Stoic secrets is understanding the power of silence, particularly when it comes to protecting your peace. Your peace of mind is an invaluable asset that deserves to be safeguarded at all costs. In a world overwhelmed by external chaos, whether it be through negative energy, toxic relationships, or the daily noise that surrounds us, silence acts as your protective shield. It's not just about avoiding the loud sounds of the world, but about finding a way to guard your inner calm and emotional well-being from being disrupted. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think or do, only what you do." This reminder reinforces that our peace isn't contingent on the actions of others, but on our own responses to them. By embracing silence, you create a space for yourself to retreat from these distractions, recharge your mental energy, and restore your sense of balance. This concept is essential for not only physical health but mental and emotional stability. Silence is not a void. It's a powerful sanctuary that allows you to recalibrate, think deeply, and focus on what truly matters in life. For instance, imagine a hectic day at work or a challenging interaction with a friend. If you choose silence over a reactive response, you protect your peace and preserve your energy for more important matters. In today's world, we are often driven by the impulse to react, to speak our minds, or to prove a point. Yet it is through silence that we often gain the greatest clarity and understanding of ourselves and our environment. Silence isn't about disengaging from life, but rather about engaging with it in a way that aligns with your values, focusing on what nourishes your soul. It's in these quiet moments where your greatest insights will emerge. Therefore, I urge you to view silence not as avoidance, but as a tool for guarding your mental and emotional health. When you choose silence, you are giving yourself the greatest gift, the space to stay grounded and centered amidst the noise of life. Before we get started, I really hope you find value in this video. If you do, please help me spread the message by sharing your commitment with our community. Leave a comment saying, "I will protect my peace," if you recognize the power of silence in guarding your peace in life. If you disagree, feel free to comment, "Needs improvement," to help me create better videos for you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Number 8. Silence builds emotional resilience. One of the key Stoic secrets is understanding the profound power of silence, especially when it comes to protecting your peace of mind. Your peace of mind is a treasure, a priceless asset that deserves to be protected at all costs. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded by external chaos, whether it's from negative energy, toxic relationships, or the never-ending noise that fills our lives. Silence becomes a powerful tool to safeguard our mental space. But it's not just about avoiding the loud sounds of the world. It's about finding ways to shield your inner calm from the disturbances that threaten your emotional well-being. When you embrace silence, you carve out a safe space for yourself, a place to retreat from the noise, recharge your mental energy, and restore your inner balance. Silence becomes a refuge that allows you to disconnect from external chaos and reconnect with yourself. This practice of silence isn't just essential for your physical well-being, but also for your emotional and mental stability. Think of silence not as a void or emptiness, but as a sanctuary, a space where you can recalibrate, reflect, and focus on what truly matters. Imagine this. You've had a challenging day at work, or you're in a heated conversation with a friend. The instinct might be to react, to argue, or to defend your position. But if you choose silence instead, you protect your peace and avoid getting caught up in unnecessary conflict. You also preserve your energy for things that matter most to you. In our fast-paced modern world, it's easy to feel driven by the need to react, to speak up, to defend our opinions, or to prove a point. Yet it is often in silence that we gain the greatest clarity and insight. It's in those quiet moments that we learn the most about ourselves, our true priorities, and how we can navigate life with intention. Silence doesn't mean disengaging from life. It means engaging with it in a way that is aligned with your values and your true self. In these quiet moments, away from the noise and distractions, is where your greatest insights will arise. Silence offers you the opportunity to step back, to gain perspective, and to nourish your soul. It allows you to better understand the things that matter most and to reflect on your actions and decisions without the constant pressure to react. Therefore, I urge you to view silence not as avoidance, but as a powerful tool for guarding your mental and emotional health. When you choose silence, you are giving yourself the greatest gift, the space to stay grounded and centered in the midst of life's noise. Embrace the power of silence and watch how it can transform your peace of mind, your clarity, and ultimately, your life. In a world that constantly demands reactions, embracing silence can be a powerful tool for growth and peace. By choosing to remain silent in key moments, you don't just protect your emotional well-being, you also give yourself the chance to cultivate self-control, clarity, and resilience. This is the essence of modern Stoicism. Understanding that silence, rather than responding with words, often allows karma to work its magic and brings about personal transformation. The Stoic secrets of self-restraint and wisdom enable us to stay grounded amidst life's chaos, keeping us aligned with our true values. So I encourage you to incorporate these principles into your daily life, whether it's choosing silence in the face of criticism or letting go of the need to control every outcome. How can you apply the power of silence today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. Let's walk this path of wisdom together.